What was the Hythe Mothman? Well, we have to go to November 16th of 1963 in England, in Kent. For whatever reason, there's lots of cryptid sightings, monster sightings, paranormal and UFO activity around Kent, so that's where we're going to go today. And specifically, we're going to go to Sandling Road in Kent, near Hythe. This is a region, as I said before, rife with cryptozoological and paranormal activity. And 4 young people, 17-year-old John Flaxton, 18-year-old Mervyn Hutchinson, and 2 of their other friends were walking home from a party on Sandling Road, and they suddenly saw a silent, glowing, orb-like object come down from the sky. This object was described as only being a few metres, and it hovered above a field, then slowly made its way through the trees and settled down in a very dark, very shadowy area of the Sandling Park woods. No one could see it at this point, nobody knew where it was, nobody knew what it was doing, but they were all very curious, and they were probably at this point discussing among themselves whether or not they should go and look, whether they should go and investigate, whether they should go and see it. But it would soon come and see them, or rather, something would come and see them, possibly from the object. Moments after this object landed, the young people noticed a shaking in the bush, and what was emerged was absolutely indescribable. Or rather, it was describable, but it just sounds absolutely terrifying. What came out was a shuffling, slightly shambling figure. It looked like a headless bat. It was approximately 5 feet tall. It had huge webbed feet and wings that came from its back, and no head whatsoever. In Hutchinson's own words, it didn't seem to have any head. There were huge wings on its back, like bat wings. Now, these young people, obviously not really keen to stick around. They skedaddled out of there, they ran out of there, they fled, and they went and reported it to the police. Once they told the officers the story, and understandably they were coming back from a party, maybe they'd had a few refreshments, the officers were a little bit dubious. However, they were clearly absolutely terrified. Flaxton would later say he'd felt cold all over during the episode, it had clearly shaken them up, and they had signs of trauma. And less than a week later, actually, on the 21st of November, a young man named Keith Croucher also said that he'd seen the craft hover over a soccer field before landing, which is amazing to actually have some corroborating evidence from someone a little older and someone in the vicinity. There was some exploring done of the area there, and there were 3 footprints, each 24 inches long and 9 inches across, found in the exact area where the beast had allegedly been seen, or the alien rather, which seemed to confirm that it had indeed been shuffling around there as claimed. It would have taken some considerable hoaxing to have faked such footprints. It looked as if the bracken had been flattened by tremendous weight, and inevitably this attracted all kinds of attention, and people began heading out there, and they found that the woods in the area, in the aftermath of this encounter, were bathed by a kind of eerie glow at night. They seemed self-luminescent, as if something was lighting them up. And in the 1970s, people continued to explore the case, they continued to talk about it, they continued to try and investigate it, but there wasn't a huge amount of attention, and it tapered off after that. However, does it really taper off? Because this sighting came 4 years before Mothman was seen, and the being is really like Mothman. It shuffles along and seems ungainly on land, but can seemingly fly, you would imagine, quite intensely while it's in the sky. It's absolutely terrifying. It creates an aura of horror. It seems to come from the sky out of nowhere. It's very much like Mothman, and Mothman-like creatures keep being seen all around the world when something strange or ominous is going to happen. You have Mothman and the collapse of the Point Pleasant Bridge, you have the Freiburg Shrieker in Germany, you have the Blackbird of Chernobyl that flew over when the Chernobyl nuclear power plant was about to blow up, you have the Chinese so-called man-dragon. These are just a few types of cryptids that either come along and bring an aura of fear, or when they come along, something ominous happens during the sightings. Mothman was even seen over New York during a period of trouble a few years ago, and many people think it's no coincidence that these beings come along shortly before a disaster occurs. This, however, is significant because it's the first time that such a creature has been associated with the UFO phenomenon per se. The first time it's been seen associating with a flying saucer, a flying object. There's no actual clear evidence that it was a UFO that disgorged the Mothman, the English Mothman. Maybe that was actually its own self, shape-shifting. We don't really know. We can't be sure, but it's definitely spooky and it's definitely ominous. And Multiple people have tried to explain this. One researcher said he thought they maybe saw the shadows of a crow, but that doesn't explain how a crow is 5 foot tall and has no head and has a horrible aura of terror. Other people claim they saw shadows from a cow, but what's a cow doing in the middle of the woods at night? And why is a cow flying and glowing? I don't think that's it. I don't know what happened, but I think they saw something truly terrifying. Is it possible that they were having certain refreshments at the party? That's also possible, yeah. But for something to happen that's so terrifying, you'd have to be having some kind of horrible acid trip. And this is the middle of England in the early 60s, so I don't really think that was what happened. But what do you guys think? Have you ever seen anything similar? Do you know of anyone who's seen Mothman or a creature amalgamous to Mothman? Were you in the area? Do you even know these people? Please drop me a comment in the comments section if so. Please like the video, please drop a comment and a subscribe. It really helps me out in the algorithm, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.